Hello everyone, welcome back to KXAN Live. Good morning, I'm Esmeralda Zamora and we're so happy to have you here once again. Today we have our Kristen's Classroom segment with Miss Kristen Currie. Kristen, how are you doing today?
I'm pretty good, girl. How are you?
I'm good. I'm happy to be talking about fall finally.
Finally.
So what can you tell us first? We know we're talking about the autumnal equinox.
Yes. So this is happening this weekend. Now, granted, here's my little stipulation. It still feels like summer, and it's gonna feel like summer for a while. But we flipped the calendar to autumn as we get into this weekend. So Sunday morning, we're officially in fall at 7:43 in the morning. Yay. So get excited. I know it's a step in the right direction for these temperatures to cool down. But Esme, I wanted to talk a little bit about the autumnal equinox. And I know a lot of us are probably familiar with it, but talking a little bit more about the science of this is when the sun is over the equator. So think of the Earth, the sun is directly positioned over the equator when we talk about the autumnal equinox, giving us equal daylight for the northern and southern hemisphere. What gives us the seasons is not exactly, our position to the sun when it comes to the earth, but it's the tilt of the earth. Because the earth is tilted away at 23.5 degrees, that tilt is enough to give us the seasons. So in the autumn and in the spring on the equinoxes, our sun rays are perpendicular at the equator here. But during the winters and the summer solstices, that's when we're seeing the sun directly over the Tropic of Cancer during northern hemisphere summer and the Tropic of Capricorn as we get into the southern hemisphere summer. Now it's interesting because a lot of people are thinking, there's a lot of holidays that fall on the same day every single year. You think of the 4th of July, right? That happens on the same day every single year. But the first day of autumn or the autumnal equinox does not fall on the same day every year. It kind of goes back and forth between September 21st and September 24th. And the reason why that date changes is because the Earth's rotation around the sun isn't a perfect 365 degrees. What it is, it's a 365 and a quarter days. So that quarter day in our calendar, we make up during leap year, right? So those occur every 4 years. That accounts and gives us, that adjustment to get back on track. But as far as our rotation, around the sun, the calendar is just human constructed. That's how we tell time. There's not going to be any sort of adjustments like that when it comes to the earth and its rotation around the sun. So it's not adjusted when it comes to the solstices or the equinoxes, which is why it varies every year. So this year it's September 22nd. Most of the time it varies between the 21st and the 22nd of September, but even sometimes it can go as late as September 24th because of that extra quarter day that it takes for us to rotate around the sun during our calendar year. So, this is one of those things where if you think about it too hard, it might get a little confusing. The tilt of the earth is what gives us seasons, and our rotation around the sun is what gives us the year. But because it's just a little bit longer than that 365 days, the equinox will vary.
Wow. So we can safely say autumn is starting this weekend.
Yes. As far as the calendar goes, our position when it comes to how the earth is related to the sun, that's going to occur on Sunday. Now, whether or not the weather cooperates, obviously that's going to change year to year as well. Our forecast is still calling for the upper 90s, so we're not going to get that autumn-like feel just yet, but we will flip over the calendar to autumn and hit that autumnal equinox as we get into that Sunday morning, 7:43. That's Central Daylight Time, by the way. That's going to be something to mark your calendars with, get the kids excited about it. I know a lot of the times when we're talking about autumn, people think of time change. Now, that doesn't happen until November. Usually, I believe it's the second Sunday of November is when our clocks go backwards. This is the good time change that we have in the fall, but that's going to come in November when we adjust our clocks.
And I had some time to pull up some video from our fall weather last year. Let's see if I can pull it up from here.
Let's do it.
Go.
Yeah,
and
there it goes.
I'm not sure if it's going to look like this year, but I hope it does.
You know what's so funny? While you're showing that, let me pull up a different graphic because this morning on the CW Austin, we were actually talking about fall foliage here in Central Texas and some of the different times that the the leaves will turn, not only here in Texas, but across the nation. And not to give too much away, because Chief Meteorologist Nick Bannon is actually going to be talking more about this tonight. I'll just show you where we currently stand when it comes to fall foliage here in the lower 48. So Esme, if you want to go back to my computer, now that's being a little stubborn, courtesy of our friends at explorefall.com, this is the current fall foliage color as of today. Now, there's more warmer colors, which are actually behind that word live there, the browns and some of the darker reds. That would be the more so, as we get into November, and we would expect that here in Central Texas. That's not quite the case right now. It's a little early though. When we're talking about highs in the upper 90s, the green just means we're not seeing the color changing right now. And that's for most of the lower 48. Now the yellows, you can see some patchy fall foliage. So the leaves are starting to turn in places like the Rocky Mountains, portions of the Northern Rockies, the Northern Lats, out towards the far Northeast. That's where you're getting some of those more brilliant colors. But like I said, coming up tonight, it's actually KXAN News at 4. I believe Nick Bannon is going to be doing a little preview of when we can expect our peak fall foliage to be here in Central Texas, since it does tend to come a little bit later than most of the other states.
Hopefully it's sometime soon, because I'm ready for the pumpkin patches and all that stuff.
Oh yeah, girl. I think a lot of us are itching for some cooler weather, and I wish I had better news on that front. It'll take a couple weeks, but at least we know it's coming.
Yeah, it's on the horizon.
It is.
Before we go, I wanted to share a few of our viewer photos from yesterday's partial lunar eclipse. I tried to go out and look at it, and I couldn't find that color, that red color, but I did see the bright moon and the little partial eclipse on the corner of it.
It was such a great event for those who were able to fight some of those low clouds and see it. But we are very excited about the fact that, we did have that partial eclipse visibility in parts of our area, a little bite out of the moon there with Earth's shadow. And then again, the reddish hue, just because the sunlight was bending around the Earth and it going through its atmosphere, reflecting on the moon.
And it looks like Dripping Springs had a beautiful view of it.
Absolutely. Yeah, we got some good ones. And by the way, if you still have some photos to share with us, let us know. Report it at KXAN.com is how you get those to us. Just make sure to include your name and location.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much, Kristen, for joining us here again on Kristen's Classroom. This was a really fun topic. And if anyone wants to recommend a topic to you, how can they do that?
Just email Kristen.Currie@KXAN.com.
Perfect. And you can also email photos, like she mentioned, of the eclipse or even fall colors around the city, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Perfect. Thanks so much for joining me.
Of course.
And that's all we have for you all tonight here on KXAN Live. Thanks for joining us again. Remember, we have way more lives coming up later throughout the day and into the rest of the week, and we'd love for y'all to join us. Thank you.